Now, when you're defining a class, right now, I think you have already have the experience that when you're using Notepad, we just use the class keyword, and then after the class keyword, we have used the class name, right? And then the curly brackets to define the scope of the class. So that is how you declare a class. Then when it comes to a class, right now, in front of the class, we can have a in front of the class keyword here, we can have an access modifier. Here we can have an access modifier. Then there are two type of access modifiers. Then modifiers we can say access and non-access modifiers. Access and non-access modifiers. Access modifiers. Right now, we can have public, protected, private means you are defining the access. Then you are sometimes you may allowing the access or you may restricting the access. Right now, that is what you call if it is now from this you may have already experienced in public keyword. You have all you have already used the public keyword. Then sometimes you may have used the uh, private and protected. I don't think. Okay, we'll see. So right now we have access modifiers. Now Java has two type of modifiers, access modifiers and non-access modifiers. Access and non-access modifiers. So access modifiers is for to provide the to limit the access, and non-access modifiers are for other purposes. Right, then access modifiers controls the access level, where the non-access modifiers provides the other functionality, and then those are not for the controlling the access. So access modifiers, right now, not talking about the class now, mainly access modifiers, we can have public, private, protected, and default. And then you can have default as well. Right now, here we have something called default. Now, the default access modifiers, we don't do anything. In the default access modifiers, we just don't type anything. That is how you can define the default. And non-access modifiers. Then, if it is an non-access modifier, then you may have seen it final. When you're talking about the string class, if you can remember last week, we discussed about the final access modifier. Final means that particular attribute cannot be overridden, cannot be modified, cannot be modified. And then static, if we define something as a static, then static means attributes are belongs to the class, not to an object. Because otherwise, you may have already seen that when you declare an instance variable, the instance variables are belong to each object has its own copy of instance variable. That's what we discussed. But if it is a static instance variable, that object does not, every object does not have a copy of each, but all the objects are referring to one single instance. Likewise, we will discuss. And then we have abstract, transient, synchronized, volatile. Likewise, we have. Then under non-access modifiers, right now you can say, right, final, cannot be overridden or cannot be modified. Static, uh, here we don't have static, no? If it is static, the static means attributes belongs to the class, not to an object. Then you have abstract. Abstract means can only be declared in abstract classes. Abstract classes has abstract methods. Therefore, if it is an abstract method, you don't have to define the body. Right. Then I will be showing you examples as well. And then transient and synchronized, volatile, likewise we have. So for the time being, we'll go with the access modifiers first. When it comes to the access modifiers, right, then access modifiers, we have public, protected, private, default, public, private, default, protected, or public, protected, private, default, likewise, there are 4. Then for a class, if it is a class, when you are declaring a class, you can have only 2 access modifiers, either public or default. You can have only public or default. If it is a class, you can have only public or default. Now remember, in front of this class here, you can only have public or default. You can only have public access modifier, or you don't have type anything, then it is a default, right? Public or default. Right. Then let me show you now. First of all, if you are saying a class has access to another class, a class A has access to another class. So that means if class A has access to another class, class A can create an instance of a class B. If class A has access to another class, class A can create an object from class B, right? If it has access. Or it could create an object. It could create an it could be a subclass of class. Now, for an example, let me show you the access levels. Like otherwise, access certain methods and variables within class B depending on the access control of those methods and variables. Right now, there are 3 ways. So if you are saying you have access to another class, right now there are 3 ways. Now let me show you. Now let me create a Java application. Main project 1 finish. Right. Right now in this project 1, right now this is the first file. Right now main project 1 with the main method. We'll leave this. Right now I'm going to create a new class, new Java class called um, class 1. Class 1. I'm going to create class 1. Right now, the class 1, let's say, has the not the public access. Right now, class 1 declared with no access modifier. So this is default access. Now this is default access. Default access. Right now, the class 1, let's say class 1 has a variable called string name John. All right, now and that has a method as well, void get name, which prints hello from John and hello from hello John. And, okay, let's say I'm going to display the name at class 1. Right now, this is what I have in the class 1. Right now, if let's say if this Maven project, if this Maven project 1, right, has the access to class 1. If the Maven project 1 has the access to class 1, then Maven project 1, this, okay, this, let's say I'm going to refactor it as driver. Right, now this driver class could be able to create an object of this one if it has access. So see, now I'm going to, let's say this is a driver class. Driver class. Now I want to access and I want to create an object of the class 1 in order to print the method. Let's say now I'm going to declare variable type of variable 1. I'm going to say object obj equals new 1. Right. Now I have created an access because why? I have access, right? Now I do have access. So here it would display driver class, and then if I print obj dot, if I print obj dot get what was the name of this method we have defined? Get name. Obj dot get name. Let's just say hello. Right now, if it is obj dot say hello, right? Now it should print uh, John Doe at class 1. Right now, if I run this, if I run this driver class, I could do it. Why? I have the access to, class 1. Since I have the access to class 1, I can do it. Now I can run this. Now this class driver has access to the class 1. Class driver has access to the class 1. This is one way of accessing another class, right? And let me create another class called class 2. Class 2 also I'm going to declare without public, right? Now just access modifier, no default access. There I'm going to make class 2 as a subclass of class 1, inheritance now. I'm going to inherit all the content available for class 1 to class 2. I can do it by using the extends keyword and the superclass name. Class 2 extends 1. Right, then I don't have anything here. I don't have anything here. Right, now class 2 has become a subclass of class 1. So class 2 also has the object of class 2 has access to the class 1. So class 2 also has an instance variable called name, and then it has a method called say hello. Now I'm going to try that. So in the driver class, now I don't need this driver class, this part. Now let's say I no longer required to call this. So I'm going to comment it out. So I'm going to create class 2 object to uh, object 1 O1 equals new 2. Now I'm going to run O1 dot say hello method. Right. Now O1 dot say hello. Right. Now if I type O1 dot say hello, now I have created object 2 and object 1 from the class 2. And then I'm referring that say hello method from the class 2. But now class 2 does not have any methods defined here, but that also print John Doe at class 1. Right. Now right, then how can I print the object values as well? Now you can see here. Now here I have declared in here saying class 1. No, that's why here also class 2 object also prints at John Doe at class 1. Therefore, hello from John Doe. Then it gives you sense. Right, now if you create up, now you can see class 2 does not have anything, but class 2 has become a subclass of the class 1. So class 2 can access all the methods available at the uh, class 1. So this is also, you can say, class 2 has access to class 1. Then the driver class has access to class 1 as well as class 2. Let me do another one. I'm going to create another Java class called class 3. in this class 3, here I am going to make it as a class 3. So I'm going to declare a method. Static void say hi. There I'm going to say hi from class 3. Right, now hi from class 3. Right now you can see here I have a method declared as say hi in class 3, and also let's say I have a static string name Will Smith. Right, I have a variable and a method as well. Right, so now from the class 1, sorry, class driver, let's see how to access this class 2. Right now, here, let me comment out this as well. Now, this is one way, and the other one is what I'm going to do is I'm going to access by the class name. Now, what is the class name? 3. Right now, 3 dot. I can call the method say hi, and also if I want, I can use the class name 3 dot um, object name string. I guess I can access. Now, if I do it, here I can access. You can see um, here it would access the say hi method directly without creating an object. Now I'm directly accessing the class 3 variable, directly accessing the class 3 method. Now, this is how I access class 1, class 2, and class 3. Right now, I want you to try out. I will give you 1 minute for you to try this class 1, and creating a class 1 object and from the main method how to do it. Okay, do it quickly, and thereafter we'll try class 2, and thereafter class 3. Okay, I'll give you 1 minute. Quickly try out. That means if you have created the folder, this class is at the same place. This is how it's gonna work out. Right, then I'm gonna first create another package. So package code. Right, now for the code class, I'm gonna put the class 1. Now I have just put the class 1 to the code class. Now here this class 1 is in the code class, right? Now from the driver class, let's see, now can we work out as the previous way. Now if I try to access this 1, right? Now let me run file. Right, now I'm trying to access the class 1 from the driver class, where class 1 is in the different one. Right now, here the class 1 is inside the code, right? Class 1 is inside the code. So, right now you can see whether we can access it or not. Right now, let me, all right. I have built it again. Let's run it now. Now class 1 is from a different package, so I should not. Okay, it works. How it is possible? The class 1 is default access in a different package. Now this is a problem. Here I am. I have just moved now. Therefore, without refactoring. Therefore, package code. It has to be package code. That's the problem. Now it is from a different package. Now class one in a different package and the driver class is in a different package. Now, if I try to run this, now you will see here you will be getting an error saying um, class one cannot found. Right. Then, if you want to try this one, if you are using NetBeans, Notepad with command prompt, so create another folder and then put the files into that folder, the class one file into that folder, and then you will be getting the same error. Right, cannot find symbol. What is the problem now? Because class 1 is in a different folder, different package. So, as driver class in a different package cannot access. Then, if you want to access the class 1, now here we have to say, right now import from the code package, import code package dot the class name, import the code package dot 1. Right, now what does it say? One is not public in code. All right. Now, here you will see, right, when I try to import the one class, I'm getting an error saying, because we have default class, one class one declared as default, right? So nothing declared here. Therefore, I'm getting an error. Class one is not public. One is not public in code, cannot be accessed from outside package because it's a default access, cannot be accessed from outside the package. So if you want outsiders to access, now access modification, now I have provided the access only to limit within the package only. Now outside package, outside the package code, if anyone wants to access it, I have to declare this class as a public class. Once I make it as a public class, now I'm providing the access public. Now, once I declare the class access as public, now this driver class can import this. Why? It is public class. Now I can import. I can create the object. I have access to the class one, but do I have access to the say hello method? Now say hello method is not a public class. Say hello is not public. Therefore cannot be accessed outside the package. Therefore, if I want to access the say hello method here, that also has to be public because currently we had default access, therefore only within the package can access. When all the files were in the same place, we had no issue, but now if once we move the class 1 to a separate package, we got this issue. Then if you want to do this, we have to make it as public. See? Right now, try to create, now class 2 we did not move, no? Class 2 we did not move, right? Class 2 and the driver class in the same place. But, okay, what does it say? Let me run this. We have to build this. All right, now it gives you this error. Right now, class 1, the driver class will be able to run this. In the class, in this package, there's an error. In the class 2, what is it? Yes, because of that error. Right now, let's fix that as well. Right now, class 2, what is the error? Class 2 is trying to become a subclass of class 1, but class 1 is inside a different package. So if you want to open it, if you have to, because currently class 2 cannot find the symbol. So if you want to access it, you need to make it import. You need to import code dot import code dot 1. Once you import the code.1, you won't get this issue. Now class 2 can access. Right now, let me show you the first one and how it works. And then, right. Now you can see hello from John Doe because the class 1, this one is working now. Okay, let's comment it out and then let's try the class 2. Now, class 2, what I'm going to do is class 2 object, I'm going to call the say hello method. Class 2 does not have anything. But now, because it has become a subclass of class 1, now it works. Why? Class 1, this method was declared as public. Now, let's see. This is not public. Now, class 2 has become a subclass of class 1. Now, let's say whether can I call the say hello method. Now, if I try to access the say hello method, then it says cannot find symbol method say hello because location variable O1 of type 2 because related to O1 object there's no method called say hello. Why? Say this variable declared in the class 1 method and the variable declared with default access, so no one can access. Right now, let's say if I have declared it as protected, if I have declared this as protected, uh, right now the class 1 has declared as protected. Then it says what? Say hello has protected access to 2. Therefore, say hello method is protected access. Therefore, that can be only accessible by the uh, subclasses through a subclass only. Right now, here, if you want, you can print the say hello method. Right now, then you can't print the outside. Therefore, if you want to print it, you need to make it as a public class. Now, that is how the access modifiers are working. So I will give you a short brief. Now, for a class, when you are declaring a class, only public or default access modifiers you can be used. If it is a public class, the particular class can be accessed by any other class. If it is a default class, that particular class is only accessible by classes in the same package level access. Now that is what you call as the package level access. Right now we were in the PowerPoint. When you say class A has access to class B, class A can create an instance of class B. Class A can become a subclass of class B, or class A can access certain methods and variables within class B, depending on the access control of those methods and variables. That is what I have shown you. And class can be declared only with public or default access. If it is a class, you can declare only with public or default access. Therefore, remember, if it's a default access, that means a class with default access has no modifier preceding it in the declaration. If it is a public class, sorry, default access class, there is no access modifiers used. Right now in the class 3, you can see this is a default class. Now there is no modifier used. And class 2, this is a default class, no access modifier used. If it is a class 1 is a public class. Therefore, for a class, you can have only uh, default or public. If it is default, you don't use any access modifier in front of the class name. So you get the access within the package only. Therefore, you call it as package level access. All the classes within the package can access. Now, that is what you call as package level access. Right, then let's see. You have this code. Now, what do you think? What would be the output? You have a class called beverage inside the package cert. You have another class called P, which is inside the exam.stuff package, which try to become a subclass of the beverage class. What do you think? What would be the output? Will it work? Or it will not? Or what? What is the output? What do you think? Will this compile? What do you think? Anyone? Tell me quickly. Will this work? Okay, don't make me tell your names. What do you think? Will this work? Compile? Is the both classes are in the same package? Okay, I'm asking a simple question. Is the both classes in the same package or not? The class T will not be able to access the beverage class by becoming a subclass because the superclass or the beverage class declared in a different package with default access. So, since both are from two different packages, therefore this will not work. Therefore, if you want to do this workout, what is the change you have to do? There are two things you can do. If you really want to make class T a subclass of the beverage class, what do you have to do? Either what? What you have to do quickly? Either you have to put both classes into the same package, or but either you need to put both classes into the same package, or you have to make the beverage class as a public class. That's the only thing you have to do. Can't access class to beverage class or interface must be public or in same package. So, right now, public access. A class declared with the public keyword provide the all access from all packages access to the public classes. Therefore, if a class declared with public, then you provide the access to any class to access the public class. Right. Therefore, remember, a class can be declared only with public or default. If it is public, any class can access. If it is default, within the package can access. Then, non-access modifiers for a class you can use as final. Final, if you use the final keyword in a class declaration, a string class is a final class. That means it cannot be changed. It implies cannot be changed. If it is an abstract, if it is abstract classes may contain abstract methods. Abstract method means methods with no bodies. Right, then you don't have the body statements for the abstract method. Then in the subclasses, you have to implement the abstract method. Therefore, it implies partial implementation. If it is strict FE, the strict FE means this class will conform to the IEEE 754 floating point standards. Therefore, class can be declared final, abstract FE, strict FE, abstract, strict FE, likewise. Then string class is a final class. Then if it is an abstract class, abstract classes can have abstract methods. If it is strict FE, is any method in the class will conform to the IEEE 754 standards. Therefore, you can have final, abstract, likewise you can have for a classes, strict FP. Right. Then if it is a member, that means now we have decided, we know that for a class you can have only public or default. If it is a non-access modifiers, you can have final, abstract or strict FP. Right. Then, if it is a class member, member means what? If it is a variable or an attribute, variable or we call it an attributes or methods, variables and the methods. Variables and methods in a class can be declared using public, protected, default, private. Public, default, protected, default, private. Likewise, you can uh, define the as access modifiers for the class members. Right. Now, private and protected comes here apart from the public and default. Right. Then, if it is public, now you know if it is a public keyword, what the public, now the code can be accessible by any class if it is a public. If it is private, if you declare variable as a private or if you declare method as a private, only within the class you have the access. Only within the class you have the access. If it is default, within the package, anyone from the package can access. If it is protected, it can be accessed with the same package and its subclasses, even if it is the outside the package. If it is a subclass, you can access if it is protected. Right. Now we'll see what is public. Therefore, now beforehand this public, protected, default, private, these are access modifiers. No, then access issues. That means one class can access a member of another class. Then whether the class can access a member of another class or a subclass can inherit a member of its superclass. Now those are the access issues. Now if you can remember, we had the issue. Now previously in the class 1, if we have declared this as default access, when we have declared this as a default access, we got an error saying class 2 cannot be open the access the say hello method because we got an error saying say hello method cannot find symbol because it's default access. Right now, since it has default access, you cannot access. Right now, even if you try to open the say hello method here, it says say hello is not public in class 1, therefore cannot be accessed. Therefore, uh, since if you want to allow the access for this class driver, which is from a different class to this, but now you can see class driver can create the object because why? The class 1 is a public class. Class 1 is a public class. So class driver can access the class 1, can create an instance of the class 1. But accessing the method, class 1 has a method called say hello. That is not possible. Why? Say hello method is default. So You cannot access the say hello method. Even you cannot access the if you try to access obj.name, right? Obj.name, and right now you can see if you try to access the name, uh, here that also will give you an error saying name is not public in class 1 because in class 1 name is not a public variable. Right now, if it is a public now, if it is public, if it is public, right now if it is a public, now you can see here in the class driver for this name, you won't get the error because name can be accessed, but the say hello method cannot be accessed. You can't access the say hello method. Right now, this cannot be accessed from the outside the class. Right now, even let's say um, right now, therefore, remember the access issues are right now try to become um, one class can access to member of another class or a subclass can inherit a member of its superclass. Now those are the issues. And now let's see. Here the class Su and there are another class called class Mu. So both classes has not declared the package statement. So we need to make assumption which is both Su and Mu are in the same package. So same package. Then classes has default access. Fine. Then what the cool method says? Cool method says wow baby. Returning wow baby. String value it is returning. It is a public method. And the class Move, there's a method called use a zoo. And there use a zoo method. You create a zoo object. Then zoo object. You try to create a zoo object. Fine. Class zoo is having a default access. Same package. Therefore, class Mu has the access to class Su. So this line compiles because Su can class Mu can create a Su object. And after that, we are trying to access the cool method. The cool method. Now, cool method is a public method even. Even it doesn't need to be a public method because package level access to. Then when you print Su says uh, and if you call the cool method, it will return wow baby. Then it will work. Zoo says wow baby. Likewise, it will print. Because this also works, because Moo can access the cool method, even that is a public access. It has a public access. Therefore, that can work. Right. So, we'll see public members. If a method or variable declared as a public, that means all other classes, regardless the package they belong to, can access the member. All other classes, regardless the package they belong to, can access the member if it is a public member. Right, now this is an example. Now you can see here, there's a class called sports car. Now, by this representation, you should understand this convertible has become a subclass of the sports car. The convertible has become a subclass of the sports car. Then that's why you put this arrow. Then a convertible is a subclass, sports car is a superclass. Then the sports car class has a method called go fast. It has a method called go fast. Right now it has a method called go fast here. This is the method, right? Go fast method. Inside the go fast method, you have the do stuff. Do stuff inside the go fast. Okay, no, go fast method is a separate one, no? Yes, go fast method is a separate one because you open the brackets and close it, no? Right. And you have another method called do stuff. In the do stuff method, right now that is a inside the do stuff method, you call the go fast method as well. Now these are two methods. So once this convertible class becomes a subclass of the sports car, you can see this inherits both go fast method as well as the do stuff method. Right now, there you have a method called do things, right? There you have a method called do things, and you have another method called do more. Right now, what you do here, now you can see. Now, here You have a method called go fast, and you call inside another method, you call the go fast method. Now, the class inside the class itself, you are invoking a method. Therefore, invoking a method declared in the same class. That is directly you invoke the member method in the same class. So that is what you call as D. Then it can be done. This is possible if it is a public member. Right. Now, this is the subclass. Now, what you do here? There's a method inside the do things. You create the sports car object, and through the sports car object, you access the go fast method. That is possible. Why? These are public members. So here you create an object to the sports car, and through the object you access. Therefore, you invoke a method using reference to the class. By creating an object of the sports car class, you access the go fast method. Now that is possible. Now there's another method called do more. In the do more method, you call the go fast method. Now go fast is this method. Now go fast method is inherited to the convertible class. So you invoke the go fast method because it is inherited. It is available here. So you invoke it. Then invoking an inherited method. That is also possible because you invoke an inherited method. Right, now in our NetBeans one also, let me show you in the class 2. If I have, that's the class 2. The class 2, let's say I have a method called void test, void test. Okay. There's a method called, let's say, test. Inside the test method, I'm going to call the method iterated is say hello. I'm going to call the say hello method. Say hello. Right. Now say hello method. Now the class 1 declared as the public class, but the say hello is a default access now. Therefore, now we have a problem. What is the issue now? Now you can see both 1 and 2 are in two different packages. Though 1 is public class, the class 2 can become a subclass of it. This part done. But you cannot access the say hello method because you cannot inherit the say hello method, which is declared as default access. So if this is public, no worries, you can access. If it is public here, no worries, you can access the say hello method because public member means anyone can access to. Right now, this will be working. Right now, let me show you that. Need this. And I'm going to call O1 dot, not the say hello method. I'm going to call O1 dot test. Oh, class 2, yes, test. Yes, semicolon expected. Oh, under test. Right. Now I can access. Because I have declared now hello from John Doe because John Doe is from declared in the class 1. Here, John Doe declared in class 1. Now I'm accessing John Doe from the class 2 test method, printing the inherited method. Now, even if this one is declared as protected, even this one is declared as protected. Now, this one is declared as the protected. Now, protected keyword. Class 1 has declared the say hello method as protected. So, two different packages. Now, I'm trying to access this. Now, here, I would be able to access the test method. And here, from the test method, because the class 2 has inherited the, you can see class 2 has inherited the class 1. Therefore, I can call the, from the class 2, I can call the say hello method. But now here, if I try to access the say hello method, o1 dot say hello again, now I cannot access. Why? I cannot access. Why? Because I'm trying to access from the O1 object, but this has protected access. Therefore, I cannot access. So this is what you can call as a protected. Right, now let's get back here. Now this is about public members. If it is declared as public methods, so you can invoke method declared the same class, no worries. You can invoke the method using a reference to the class, no worries. You can invoke the an inherited method, no worries. You can do it if it is public. If it is private, now remember, private means within the class only. The methods or variables declared as private can be accessed only within the class itself, only within the class. So if it is private now, if it is private go fast method, if it is private go fast method, yes, you can access the go fast method, no worries, because you are from the same class. But you are trying to access the go fast method, cannot. Why? This is private then. Private means only within the class. You are trying to access go fast, cannot. Here cannot. Therefore, remember, if it is a private, only within the class itself. The members declared as private can be accessed only within the class. Therefore, members declared as private can be accessed only within the access. Right? Only within the class itself. The members declared as private can be accessed only within the class itself. Therefore, remember that. Right. Then it is about private. Right. Then if it is declared as private, okay, now let me show you that part as well. If you declare the class 1, this one as the both as private, no one would be able to access these private variables or the methods. If it is private, the driver class will not be able to access here as well. Why? Say hello method and name method has private, therefore cannot be accessed outside the package. Even inside the package also you cannot access. Right now, even this one also static private. If you mention now you cannot access. So remember, if it is a private, only within the class you can access. Right, protected and default. If it is default within the package, if it is default within the package, you can access. At the beginning, I have showed you if it is the default within the package, you can access. If it is protected, package level plus through inheritance even outside the package. If it is default, only the package level. If it is protected, now I have shown you here both class 1 and class 2 are different. So if it is protected, if it is protected, if it is protected, then you can see class 2, even though class 2 is from outside the package, can be accessed the say hello method, can inherit the say hello method, because protected means you can access the member belongs to the even the same package, or even a different package through inheritance, even a class from a different package through inheritance. Therefore, remember that as well. A default member may be accessed only if the class accessing the member belongs to the same package, whereas a protected member can be accessed through inheritance by a subclass even if the subclass is in a different package. Therefore, protected means package level plus subclass. Protected means package level plus children. Right. Then here, uh, let's see about this. I'll give you a 1 second for you to try out this, and then think and tell me what do you think, whether will this work out or not. All right, then. Okay, I think you can see this now. Right now, you can see there's a class called my class, and my class has private variable alpha, public variable beta, default variable gamma, and default method called set alpha, and default method called get alpha. Right? Then here you have another class called access demo. In the access demo class, you are trying to create a class object. My class object. Will this work? Question number one. If it is work out, then only we have to think about the rest. Then if it is working, the second one. Can you do this ob dot set alpha minus 99? Can you assign the can you change the variable alpha value using the set alpha method? Can you access? And one thing, right now the questions are like this here. Will this work? Right now I'm asking, will this work? 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 Right, you can label on, and then you can tell me, or you can talk to me easily. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Tell me, send me a message via chat 1 to 6 whether it will work out or not. If it is not, what are the changes we could do in order to make this code work? Right. I'll give you 2 minutes time for you to quickly try out this and send me the answers. Quickly send me. You try to create the object of my class. So yeah, since you are trying to create an object from the my class and the class access demo are from the same package. So this works. So no worries, this get compiled. Right. Then right now what you are doing here, you are trying to access the set alpha method. Set alpha. Here you can say this is default, right? You have default access for the set alpha method. Since default access means package level access, no. Therefore, you can access the set alpha method. Therefore, no worries. This one also will work. Right now, you can. What does it do? In the set, when you call the set alpha method by passing minus 99 to the variable here, then this a variable get minus 99. Then what you do? You are trying to access the alpha variable, and alpha variable you're gonna assign the minus 99. Now, Here inside the class you are accessing the private access now. Therefore, private means class level access. Only within the class you can access. Therefore, yes, set alpha method can access the alpha variable because within the package. Therefore, no worries, this will work and variable alpha become minus 99. Right. Then we have another method called you print system.out println ob.alpha is ob.get alpha. Then you are trying to call this get alpha method. Get alpha method also default access. So same default access, same package, no worries. Then you can call the get alpha method. Then again inside the get alpha method, you return the value of the alpha variable. Get alpha method is declared inside the my class. So get alpha method can access the alpha variable though it is private. So it can return the alpha variable. Now therefore it won't be issue. So you would be able to read the alpha variable value. So this will be also fine working. Now you are trying to access the alpha variable by object name dot alpha. Now there will be a problem now. Why? You are trying to access the alpha. Alpha is declared as private. Since it is private, it can be only accessed within the class. Alpha variable can be only accessed within the my class. Therefore, this cannot be possible. Therefore, this would be false. Therefore, you cannot access the alpha variable. Right. ob.beta. You are trying to access the beta variable. Beta is public. No worries. You can access the beta. And gamma. Gamma is default. Gamma is default. No? Default means package level access. Yes, gamma also can be accessed. Only this alpha variable cannot be accessed because that is declared as private. Since it is private, you cannot access. Therefore, this is what you call as like you call as encapsulation. Right now, when it comes to Java class, normally what you do is you declare all the instance variables as private fields. So, all the instance variables as private, and then you declare only the getter methods and setter methods for the required variables using public required variables, right? Then those you call as accessor methods or getters and setters. So we will discuss under that getters and setters. Right now, for the time being, is this clear? If it is not, please ask. Line 4 won't work. Yes, line 4 won't work. Yes, because it is private, right? Thank you for your answer as well. Right now, this is what you had here. Right. Right. Then local variables and access modifiers. Now remember, now we have been talking about access modifiers. So now under the access modifiers can be accessed to the access modifiers can be assigned to the instance variables and the variables and methods inside the class. That means instance variables and the methods. Now class can be defined only with default and public access. Variables and methods can be defined only with public, private, default, protected. And public means a package anyone can access. If it is default means only the package level access. Protected means package level plus through inheritance, even though from outside the package. And private means only within the class. And remember, access modifiers cannot be assigned to the local variables. Access modifiers cannot be applied to local variables. Therefore, as per this code, right now, this is integer variable x is declared inside the do stuff method inside the class foo. Therefore, x variable is a local variable, so you cannot assign a access modifier for the local variable. Therefore, there is never case where an access modifier can be applied to local variable. So remember, you cannot assign access modifiers to a local variable. Right. Right. Then this is a summary of what we have discussed so far. If it is public, you have the access within the same class, same package, subclass in the same package, subclass outside the same package, any non-subclass outside the package. If it is public, if it is protected, same class, yes, same class, any class in the same package, yes, subclass from the same package, yes, subclass outside the package, yes, any non-subclass outside the package, no. If it is default, same class, yes, same package, yes, from a subclass in the same package? Yes, if it is default within the package level. If it is private, only within the class. Only within the class you could access the um, private variables, private fields. Right. Then what I want to do is I want you to quickly create what happens if you make it as final, and what happens if you make it as static. I want you to quickly try out. So let me get back the variable. Okay, I don't need this 1, 2, 3. Uh, right now we have class 2. Let's say class 2 has a variable called integer x, integer y, x equals x integer x and integer y, x equals 10, integer z. Right now z equals also 10. I have assigned the values. Right now a is default access. Now this one is final access. Right now this is static access. Static. Right now I want you to create two objects from the class 2. Create two objects from the class 2. Right now this is the class 2 now. Right. Create two objects from the class 2 and refactor format. Object 1 obj1 and obj2 obj3. Object 1 object 2 object 3. Right now uh, let's see. We're gonna print. We're gonna try change the values. Obj1 dot x equals 50. Okay, obj dot x equals 50 and obj2 dot obj1 dot y equals 60. Obj dot z equals 7. Right. Now you can see when I try to right now I'm gonna print s out obj dot x obj1 dot y plus obj1 dot z. Right now you can see here you are getting an error already, because when you try to assign the variable y value, variable y is a final variable, therefore you cannot change. Now it says cannot assign a value for final variable y. Therefore, you cannot do assign a value for the variable y. Right. Then you cannot assign a value for the variable y. Now you can assign it for the x and z. Then I want you to quickly run the driver class and tell me what are the values. For the y, regardless the object 1, object 2, object 3, variable y value would be 10 always, because that cannot be changed. Now here, let me change these values as well, 50, 70 and 60, 80 and 50, 60, 50, 10 to 30, 40, 30, 40. Right now, these are the values I have assigned. Just see what you're going to get as the output. Okay, run this and tell me quickly. I give you 2 minutes. Tell me the answers quickly as possible. Now, you know that the variable y cannot be changed because it is final. That's right. Then when you print object1.text, object1.text, it is 50, right? So this would be printing 50 for the x variables, right? And now this is 1, 2, 3, let's say. Then x, y, z. Now, no matter y would be all the time it is 10. Object1.text would be 50. Right, now object1.y would be 10 all the cases. Object1.z would be 70. Is it? Object1.z would be 70. Object1.x 50. Object1.y 10. Object1.1 10. And object1.c 70. Right. Now, when I say object2.x, object2.x. Right. Now, okay, but now this is what we are supposed to get now. Object2.x. Object2.x would be 60. And object2.y. Object2.y, which is cannot be changed, that is 10. And object2.y, object2.y is okay. Object2.z 80. And object3.x 30. And 10, this is 10. And object3.z 40. But regardless this 70, 80, now if you run this, it would be always, this would print here also, it would print 40. Here also it would print 40. The reason is here the static keyword. Now, object 1 has its own copy of variable x. Object 2 has its own copy of variable x. Object 3 has its own copy of variable x. That's why object 1, 2, 3 has 3 different set of values. But when it comes to variable z, shit. No, then give me a minute to find the mouse pieces. Is it working? Yes, good. Let me fix it first. Come on. Oh, it's working. Good. Right, what I was talking. Yeah. But yes. Object 1 has its own copy of x, object 1, 2, 3 has its own copy of x and its own copy of y, but y variable cannot be changed. But when it comes to object 1, the variable z, every object is referring to the only one copy of c variable. Now each variable does not have z, right? There, this variable c belongs to the class, not to the instance variable. Therefore, there will be only one copy of z. Therefore, when you say c.70, it would be, now there will be a variable called z. Then when you say object 1.c70, then this becomes 70. When you say object 2.z is equals 80, then this would be 80. When you say object 3.z, which is 40, then this would be replaced to 40. Then later on only you are printing. Now at the time you are printing, the variable z contains 4. Therefore, if it is a static variable, there will be only one copy of static variable. Remember that in your mind as well. Right now, that is how the final and the static keywords are working. Right. Now, let me show you an abstract variable as well quickly. Abstract method, abstract class, and if it is an abstract class, right now let me create another class called. Right now, let me create another Java class called uh, to sub. This is the subclass for the class 2. Now this class become a subclass of the class 2. Let's say if it is becoming a subclass of class 2, and let's say this one has a method called abstract void say hi. Right now, if you declare an abstract. If you declare an abstract method, say hi, that means there is no body statements for abstract method. But if you declare an abstract method, only abstract classes can have abstract methods. Therefore, you can have a non-access modifier abstract to declare the class. Right now, in the class 2 sub, right now here, since you have become a subclass of the class 2, now you can see there's an class 2 is an abstract class. Therefore, it says class 2 sub is not an abstract and does not override the abstract method say hi. Because if it is an abstract method, in the abstract class, we had an abstract class, class 2, then there we have not implemented the say hi method. Here we have not implemented the say hi method, we have just declared only. Nobody. Therefore, if we are now in the to sub method, we have to implement the uh, hi method. We have to implement the say hi method. Now let me override the say hi method. Right now, now this is how I have implemented the say hi method. Now, because if it is an abstract method, that means partial implementation. You have not declared the you have not implemented the say hi method in the superclass, and in a subclass you are implementing the say hi method. That's why you have declared it as this is why you have declared it as abstract. And let's say we have another method called void run, void start. Void info. Let's say void info. And this info method prints class 2. Right now in the driver class here. Now if I create an object from the driver class here, okay, I can run the object one dot info because it is inherited to object one. No, here obviously it is inherited right now. Here also, if I want, I can call the info method because now here it is inherited. Now yeah, I'm not gonna call that one. You know, it is obviously possible. Right now, I'm gonna create from the to sub. and then object one dot we can call info o say hi. Right now, if I call the say hi method now, you'll be able to see the way I'm going to give us the output. It would say hello. Oh, compilation error. The package does not exist. The driver class package input code to Tron. Class 2, it says hello. First, it will go info. Info says class 2 info because I have declared the class 2 method to print class 2 info. Therefore, this one has inherited the 2 sub method has inherited that. That's why it prints this and then hello. That is how you work with the abstract classes. That is how you work with the abstract classes. If you want, you can quickly try out this. Let me put it here, then you can see. I'll quickly try out this. Then we can go ahead into the rest. Quickly try out. Right. So now we have discussed about the access modifiers. Right. And we know that reference variables can be declared. That means static variables, instance variables, methods, parameters. So, right. Then instance variables, you already know. Instance variables are the variables declared inside the class outside any method. And the local variables are declared inside a class, inside a method, and the local variables are only alive within the scope of the particular method. And instance variables values get initialized by the constructor, where the local variable values has to be initialized before use it. Right now that also we have discussed. Now here you can see there's a variable called count equals 10. Right now, inside another method called do something, if you try to assign I variable value to the count, it won't work because count variable is no longer available after the login method is finishes because the count variable declared as a local variable inside the count that we have already discussed previously. And with this also we have discussed if you are using same variable name for the local variable as well as the um, instance variable, that is what you call as variable shadowing. Right now here you can see the count equals 9. This is the instance variable because inside the class outside any method, and inside the variable inside the method login there's another count equals 10 declared. This is that is a local variable. This is a local variable, so this is a local variable 10. Inside the login method, when you print count, that means it refers to the local variable count. Therefore, this would print 10 because that is a local variable value. And there's another method called count. Then here there is no local. In this case, the local variable is no longer available. So when you say count, now this refers to the 9. That is the instance variable 9. Right. Then again, by any chance, someone can tell me if you can remember at here and inside the login method, inside this method, if you want to print if you want to print this instance variable count value, how can you do it? What is the modification you have to do for this? Doing what? Yes, correct. Now rather than doing this, if you say this dot count, if you use the keyword this dot count, then if you use the variable name count with this dot count, then it will refer to the instance variable count. It will refer to the instance variable if you use the keyword this dot count. Therefore, you have to use the this keyword. This also we have discussed last time. Right now, then here you can see here. Right now, this is also we have discussed when we are discussing about the constructor. When you have instance variable size equals 27, and there's a method for set size. Inside the set size method, if you want to assign the size, we have to take the size value as a parameter, and if you use the same name as size here, then when you say size equals size, now at this point, both size is referring to. Now, as we discussed last time also, here the size means this will refer to this local variable size. So, if you want to assign the for this value of this variable size to the instance variable size, so what you have to do is you have to use the this dot size. This dot size means you are referring to the instance variable size. Therefore, if you have the both variables accessible, local and instance with using the same name, then when you use this keyword, this dot size or this dot variable name will refer to the instance variable. Therefore, this dot variable name means the object instance variable. Therefore, remember that as well. Right. Now, we have discussed about the methods and parameters and arguments. Here, in order to invoke a method, the passing values you call as the arguments. Parameters are declared in the method definition. Right now, here the string as an integer are parameters declared, and then in order to invoke this do stuff method, you need to pass a string as well as an integer. Then this is what you call as an arguments. If method is declared with two arguments, then if you want to invoke it, you have to pass the two arguments. Right. Then constructor versus methods we have discussed. Constructor does not have return type. Constructor has the same name as the class name. Therefore, constructors cannot be marked as static. Therefore, constructors cannot be marked as final or abstract. Therefore, constructor has the same name as the class name. It does not have a return type. Method can have any name, and method has a return type. And methods can be marked as static. Method can be marked as abstract. Method can be marked as final. Right. And then we discussed about the final variable. Also, previously, if it is a final variable, it cannot be changed. Once you assign a value to the final variable, it is impossible to reinitialize or change the value, because once initialized cannot be changed if it is a final variable. Then string objects are final, right? Remember that. And if it is a final class, class cannot be subclass. Final classes cannot be subclasses. Final methods cannot be overridden. Final methods cannot be overridden. Final variables cannot be reinitialized, cannot be changed. Final variable values cannot be changed. Therefore, final variables cannot be changed. That we have already discussed. Static variables and methods, we have discussed this already. Static methods is used to create variables and methods which exist independently of the instances of the class. Therefore, if it is a static method, you can access by the class name dot static method name. Therefore, because the static attributes are belongs to the class, not to the static attributes are belongs to the class, not to the objects. And there will be only one copy of static variables. Right. We have discussed that. Then you can mark methods, variables as static, and there are some constructors you cannot mark as static. Classes you cannot mark as static, like us we have discussed. And then we have discussed this as well. Enumerated list, enums. When we were talking about arrays, we have discussed this, and the switch statement also we have discussed this. And when it comes to a enumerated list, I will tell you again. Enums after Java 1.5, you have enumerated list or enums. Then, if you want to create set of predefined values, you can come up with enums, right? Then enumerated list. Then those values cannot be changed. Now, let me show you quickly how to create, just to refresh your memory, how to create the enumerated list. Let's say if you want to have enumerated list declared here, either you can have enum. Let's say I want to declare variables for the enumerated list color, and you can have the values in block letters, because these are predefined set of constant values: red, blue, green, separated by comma. So normally, since these are enums right now, normally we use capital letters just to represent these are predefined set of constant values. Normally, constant values we declare as a or in capital letters. It doesn't matter even if you do it in simple letters, but normally we do it. And let's say enum size, you can declare it inside the class as well as the outside the class as well. Now, all right, now we have large, small, large, medium, excellent. Right. Now, likewise, you can declare the enumerated list, and then let's say you can have variables, color type variable. We're gonna have my color, and let's say we're gonna have the size type variable, my size. Right, now let's say if you want to assign a value to this one, we will assign it outside the class, and then we'll print it. void info. Right. Now this is how you created the enumerated list and just the enumerated list plus this, and then here I'm going to create the class 2, and then I need to assign the values to the these variables, and then let's close this to the my color. Now for the my color variable, you can only assign either color dot blue, green, red, only these values. Other than that, you cannot assign. Right? You can only assign these set of values. And object one dot my size is equals to right now. You can have size dot lmsxl likewise you can have. Right. Then you can see here the two different ways of assigning the values. When I assign the color variable, the enumerated list color declared outside the class 2, so it is acting as a separate class. Now this size enumerated list I have declared inside the class 2 as a class 2 member, so it is working as 2.size. Refers 2.size. Now I am gonna print this object one dot obj1 dot info method. Right. And also, before this also, I'm gonna print this. I'm gonna, before assign the value also, I'm gonna print the values and then see how the output gonna be. Right. Now, when I print this, first, initially when I use object1.info, the constructor will assign the default values. These are objects. Then this would become null. And then thereafter, after assigning the values to red and m, then it would refer color as red, size as m. That would display like this. Right now, this is how the enumerated lists are working that we have already discussed previously. Okay, if you want to try out this, okay, quickly try. If you can't remember the way we have done it, you can try out quickly. I'll give you 1 minute, and then we're gonna go talk about the um, methods overloading and overriding with object-oriented programming concepts today. And then we're gonna stop afterwards. I will do it quickly, 11:55. By 12 o'clock, I want to start with the double OP concepts. we have done with this, and then overriding and overloading, and then we will discuss this right under the object orient. Okay, we have a quick go through on this. Right, overloading and overriding are the two things for methods you could do when you have the user relationship or when you become a subclass of a class, and then you can do the overriding, right? Or else overloading means using the same method name with, remember, important, different arguments, right? Different arguments. By changing the parameters, you can define methods with the same name but with different method names. Sorry, method, a different number of arguments or the type of arguments, but different arguments. Using the same method for several methods, using the same method name for several methods is called overloading, but you have to change the arguments. You have to change the arguments, right? Now that is what you call as overloading. Overriding means when you have inherited from the superclass, then if you want to change the behavior of the method, the way it works, then you could do the overriding. Now, let me show you briefly how method overloading is working, and thereafter we'll go through the double OB concepts, and then we will discuss about how this overloading and overriding is differs. Right. Right. Then method overloading. Right. First we'll do the method overloading. Right now, thereafter we will go for the method overriding. Method overloading means multiple methods can have the same method name with different parameters, right? So let me show you, and let's say we have the class 2. We don't need this enumerator list at the time. Now let's say I have what calculator class void print number print void print me print void print method no parameters, so here it's gonna print uh, no parameters, and then it's just gonna call the print. Right now I'm gonna have integer x here, then integer parameter uh, print right now I'm gonna have the int parameter xy, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right. Okay, then for this print method, now I have integer value. Then for this one, I'm going to have float text, and then here we're going to have float. float, and then let's say here we have integer x, integer y. Then it's gonna say integer int parameters. Integer x, integer y, and then here let's say integer x, float y, float y, int float parameters, and here I'm gonna have float x int y. Float x, float x int y, and here it is float and int. Right, now you can see here, this is what you call as a method overloading, but I have not changed the return type. If you wish, you can change the return type of the methods as well. What I'm doing here is I'm using the same method name by changing the number of arguments. That means by defining the different parameters. Therefore, method overloading means using the same method name or the multiple methods having the same name with different parameters. Therefore, must remember different parameters. Right now, here if you wanna call these methods, right now you can say object1 dot print. If you just use print, now that would be displaying on this method, no parameters. Now let's figure it out how this is going to work out. If you pass only one integer value, let's say 10, that would be displaying that particular integer one. And this is the float one. And if I have passed two integers, 10 and 20, and if I pass 20.10.5f and 20, and if I pass 10 and 20.5f likewise, then separate methods would display. Right now you can see here, when I pass only the print method, now it would print no parameter. Here it would display no parameter. When I pass only 10 as an argument, then integer method would display int parameter 10. When I pass 1.5f, then the float parameter argument I have passed, then it should display float parameter 1.5. When I pass integer, then it should display int parameters 10, 20. When I pass float and integer, then when I pass float and integer, then it should print float int parameter 10.5, 20. And when I pass 10 and float, integer and float, then it should return to this, then int float, then it would display int float parameter 10, 20.5. This is how you use the method overloading. Right now, I want you to quickly write a method to calculate calculate the sum, calculate the average marks. I want you to write a method to calculate the average marks. Right now, you have to ask the student name, get the student name, and the student ID, and the calculate average. The method name is calculate average. There should be only one subject or two subjects, three subjects, or four subjects. Right now, therefore you need to calculate the average. Now this one, return the subject mark, subject marks. Now here the return subject 1 plus subject 2 divided by 2. Right now, here, this one should return subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 and divided by 3. Return mark part, so there return subject 1 and then return subject 1 plus subject 2 plus subject 3 plus subject 4 and divided by 4. Right now, then display, and the output should be name and student name, student ID, let's say IT10, IT1100, and average mark, and then yes, that's one. Yes, right now I want you to declare 4 calculate average methods. Right, it depends on the student. The student may pass different values, either only one value, two values, three values. Likewise, student may pass. Do it accordingly and send me the answer quickly via chat. Right now, let's say here we're gonna have variable called student name, string name, and string ID. And let's say I'm gonna get the constructor also generated for this one. You know, it's very easy. Right click insert code, constructor. I can select the fields, click generate. Right. And then, okay, now why don't we name it as student class? Right now I have changed it to student class. Right now, then there I want to have a method to, what was the method name I have been given? Cal average. Cal average, float x, and it can return the float value. Right now it will return the x value, only one subject now. Right now, okay, float x, float y. If it is two subjects, x plus y divided by 2. If it is float x, float y, float z, then I'm going to return x plus y plus z divided by 3. And then that's it, no? Four subjects as well. X, Y, Z. Right, then divided by 4. And then here, if you can create a student object here, now if you are creating a student object, we can't student s, let's say, you can't just call the constructor, you need to pass the name, jdo, comma, id 0001. Uh-oh. Right now, if you just pass only one value, float results is equals to s dot calculate average. We can display student details. And then we can have student details, student ID, average mark is equals to s dot calculate average. You can pass any number of values. If you just pass only one value, then here that would display only the um, if you just pass only the one value, then it would display only this method will get called and then it would display the value 75, right? If you pass 75 plus 50 plus 65, right now I'm passing three values, so then that would execute this particular one. Even though I'm passing integer values, then integer to float is automatically conversion is happening, type widening conversion happening, then that divided by 3 would give you the value 63.333. Like this is what I wanted you to do. This is what you call as method overloading. Method overloading. Method overloading. Right. Method overloading is same as is using the multiple methods using same method name with different parameters. This is what you call as the method overloading. Therefore, using same method name by changing the parameters, you can use the method overloading. Therefore, remember multiple methods can have the same method name as long as the number or the type of the parameters are different. Number or the type of the parameters are different, then multiple methods can use the same method name. That is what you call as method overloading. Right. Then we have something called method overriding. Before that, overloading means use the same method name in a class with different arguments. Either different number of arguments or different return different type of arguments. Then you must change the argument list. If once can change the return type, can change the access modifier, can declare new upload checked exceptions. Therefore, must change the arguments. Therefore, here also you can see there's a method called add them with integer parameters, two integer parameters, and the same method name add them with double parameters. Here, if you want, you can change the return type here integer, here double, but the same method name with different type of parameters. So that is what you call as method overloading. Right now, when you see if you call by passing 27 and 3, which method it would invoke? 27 and 3. Now, when you call the add them method, and if you pass 27 and 3, 27 and 3 are integer values, so that would go into the first method and it would return an integer value. That would return an integer value. That's why it can hold in the integer variable. But when you call 22.5 and 9.3, then you are calling the double variables, then double x and double y. Therefore, it would return, it would invoke this method, and then return value would be double. That is how this would work. Right, method overloading. Mm. Right, method overriding. Method overriding can happen when you have the is a relationship. When a child class has the inherited methods, then the child can change the behavior of the inherited method. Now, for an example, let's say student method has student class has a method called, let's say, void say hello, void say hello, and then it says student says hello. student says hello. Right, student says hello. Let's say student says hello. Right, it would display student says hello. Right now, this is the student class. Right now, if I have another one called child class or some child, if I have give me a subclass for a student class. Tell me a name for a subclass for a student class. Junior student. I have a class called junior student. Junior student. In the junior student class, right? Let's say junior student class becomes a subclass of the extends the student class, right? When the junior student class becomes a subclass of the student class, it will give you error saying now the student class has the constructor. So junior class also needs to have the constructor. Therefore, if you insert the constructor, this would be fixed. Right now, this is the junior class constructor. Now junior class constructor is done. Right now, here if you create in the driver class, here if you call this to junior class, let's say if you create the student class constructor, and if you create a student object and if you say start say hello, as well as if you create another object from the junior student class, junior student um, and Smith ID 2222. And let's say this one is j dot say hello. Right now, if you print even right now in the student class in the say hello method, we also print the name. We have the name. Right, and yes, okay, now this is the say hello method available in the student class. So when I call this to junior student object and when I call the junior student say hello, right now you can see here both student.say hello and the junior.say hello would display the student name and the ID number and student says hello. Right now, here both would display student says hello. Let's say now, this is not the way I want to happen in the junior student class because I don't want to display as per the student class. The student class says student says hello. In the junior student class, it should say junior student says hello. If I wanted to say junior student says hello, then you can see here uh, what I want to do is junior student says hello, I want to display, not the student class student says hello. So what I want to do is I can override the method. I can override the method. I can override the method. So in the student class also, junior student class also, I'm going to declare the same method, say hello, and then I'm going to override the content. Junior student says hello, and that's it. Junior student says hello. I'm going to say junior student, whatever the name, junior student. Junior student name says hello. Likewise, it's going to print now. Now the say hello method, I have changed the behavior. Now what I did was I have overridden this. Therefore, if you're using NetBeans, then it will ask you to add the override annotation. Then if you add the override annotation, now you know this is the overridden method. So it is inherited method you have overridden here. Then if you go to the superclass also, you will see this annotation. That means it says is overridden. That means say hello method is overridden in the subclass. That's what it says. This is overwritten in the subclass. Therefore, now if you print, now the superclass student class would display differently, and the junior student will act differently. Student would act. Student says hello, name, Jane Doe, and ID likewise, but the junior student will say junior student answer says hello, because now we have changed the way the method works. Then that is what you call as overriding. If you want to change the behavior of the inherited method, if you want to change the behavior of the inherited method, so you need to override. You need to override. Now this is how you could do it. Now this is where I have changed the behavior of the uh, subclass. This is where I have changed the behavior of the subclass. Right now, you can see the superclass is the student class. In the student class, I have method say hello, which prints like this. Then here I have override the method. I don't want to display like this. So I have changed the behavior. In order to say junior student, particular student name says hello. Therefore, this is what you call as overriding. This is in order to do overriding, you need to have a ISA relationship, or else you need to have inherited methods from the superclasses. The key benefit is you can define the behavior which is specific to the specific subclass. You can change the behavior of this particular junior class, junior student say hello method. Therefore, this is what you call as overriding. Okay, quickly do this as well. Previously, we did overloading. Overloading means using the same method name, by changing the parameters. Overloading. Overriding. If you have inherited methods, you can change the behavior. Right. Try out quickly. Right. Overriding. We have discussed here. Okay. Here an example. You can see there's a class animal, which is a superclass, which has method eat. It says generic animal eating generically, and there's a class host, become a subclass of the animal class, and there you override the method eat, then host eating hay, oats, and host treats. So, in the animal class, eat method would display generic animal eating generically. The host class eat method would display host eating hay, oats, and host treats. Therefore, uh, if you call now here, you can say this is how you have invoke the superclass method as well. Right now, let me show you that as well. Right now, when you call now, let's say when you call the junior student object, and if you want to invoke the superclass say hello method as well. After junior student says hello, if you want to invoke the superclass say hello method as well, then you can use the keyword super dot say hello. Super dot say hello will call the super class say hello method. And even in the constructor also you can see when I pass junior student name and ID, and when I use super, that means I'm calling the super class student constructor. Right now when I run this, it would display junior class whatever, and then a student class content, because I'm in calling the super class say hello method as well. See, junior class and Smith says hello, student says hello, name and Smith ID. And now the problem is, now you can see here, even though when I call the super class, say hello, for the super class I'm passing and Smith and ID 2222. Therefore, when the super student class also say hello method would display student says hello, name and Smith ID 2222. Likewise, it would display. That is how you invoke the superclass version. Right. Now, in this class, you can see in the animal class, you have eat method. Inside the eat method, and then you have the print yourself method. And the host class, you can have print yourself method origin. You can have whatever the content. And then if you want, you can invoke the superclass print yourself method. Then in order to do that, you use the super keyword dot the method name, super keyword dot method name, super keyword dot the superclass method name. Right now, when you are overriding, remember argument list must match. Now, argument list cannot change. It has to be must match. The return type must be same or the subtype of the return type declared. Then access levels can't be more restrictive than the overridden methods. Then There are some rules you need to remember: overloading and overriding. As a summary, remember this: arguments in overloading must change, in overriding must not change. The return type in overloaded methods can change, but return overriding can't change for except for subtypes. In exceptions, overloaded, if you want, you can change, but in overriding can change, can reduce or eliminate. You must not throw new exceptions. Access levels, overloaded methods you can change, but overriding methods must not make more restrictive than the available. Right, must not make more restrictive, can be less restrictive than the available. Right, therefore, you can invoke the overloaded methods by the references, but overriding methods can be invoked through the object type. Through the object type. Right, now that is how you do the overloading and overriding. Therefore, now as a summary, now you know method overloading. Right now, is like you can say compiler time. It is like when you are compiling, you have multiple methods with the method same method name with multiple arguments. No, therefore different arguments, and therefore it is like compiler time polymorphism. And method overriding means when you are running, each object has its own copy of its own behavior of a method. That is what you call as method overriding. Therefore, method overloading, you must change the arguments. Method overriding, you must not change the arguments. Right. That is the difference between overloading and overriding. And then let's go to the object-oriented programming concepts. What are the object-oriented programming concepts in Java? Now, almost most of the content we have done so far. Right, then when it comes to double OP concepts, right now we have already done, let's say, abstraction. Right now, when someone asks what are the double OP concepts in Java, then you must remember abstraction, encapsulation, polymorphism, and inheritance. Right now, abstraction means hiding the data, right? Data hiding. Right now, we normally what we do is we put all the methods and variables inside the class declaration. Therefore, we do not display all the content to the outsiders. We put that inside a class. Therefore, then we can display only the relevant data about an object in order to reduce the complexity and increase the efficiency. Therefore, you can see a class is a general abstraction or data hiding of an object. Therefore, a class is a abstract representation of an object, because in the class you declare the way the object has, what are the attributes the object has defined in the class. What are the behaviors that object can do defined in the class. Therefore, class is a general abstract representation of an object, because object, whatever the object knows, the variables the object has is defined in the class. What are the functionalities object can do defined inside the methods in the class. Therefore, object remains as a representation of the original with unwanted detail omitted. Right now, for an example, if we create a car class, then with the variables like model and color and the method like move, then every object you create from the car class has the model, color, and the method move. Therefore, class car is an abstract model for the concept of a car. Therefore, you can have any number of objects from the class car. And then each car can have its own value of model, color, and it can perform the move method. Then that is what you call as data abstraction in Java, data abstraction or data hiding. Therefore, you can call it as data abstraction means data hiding. Data abstraction means process of hiding the certain details and showing only essential information to the user. Therefore, abstraction, even abstraction can be achieved by abstract classes. If you can remember now, in little while ago, we did abstract classes. Then abstract classes had only method declared. The body part has not been implemented. Therefore, outsiders will not see the body, only the method name declared on the abstract class. Then, if someone wants to see the content, then in the subclass only that particular method has been implemented. Therefore, abstract keyword. We have already done abstract key access modifier, run access modifier. We can use for classes as well as we can use it for methods. Then we have just discussed and I have showed you how the access modifier is working as well. Then abstraction. Now abstraction means data hiding. Right, then hide certain details and only show the important details of an object is what you call as data abstraction or data hiding. Therefore, data hiding means like, for an example, also you can say the objects behave according to the way the objects are declared in the methods and the variables declared in the class. And also abstract methods and abstract variables also outsiders will only see the method declaration, but method implementation is done in a different class. Then that is what you call as data abstraction. Right. Then we have a data abstraction. Then we have encapsulation. Then you may have heard the word encapsulation most of the time. Even the capsules you have seen all the time, right? Medicine capsules. You may have you may have taken capsules already. Then you know when you see a capsule, you know something is inside, but you can't see what are the things inside the capsule because it is protected. It is you can't see what's inside it, but you can only feel like there's something inside, and you know that for sure medicine is there, but you don't know what shape, what behavior, how it is. Likewise, you have no idea, no clue. Therefore, encapsulation also means right. Sensitive data is hidden from the users. Sensitive data is hidden from the users. Therefore, now encapsulation is means right. You hide the data from the users. You hide the data from the users. Therefore, outsiders may not be able to see what are the values of this particular variables. Right now, for an example, then if you want to achieve encapsulation, there are two things you have to do. Now we have just discussed about the access modifier. From the access modifiers, you need to remember the private keyword. If you can remember the private keyword, private access modifier. If you use the private modifier, that means you are allowing only to access within the class itself, within the class. Only the class level access you are mentioning, class level access, private. So if a Java variable is declared as private, that means only within the particular class you can access. Then outsiders cannot access it. Outsiders will not see it. It's not visible. Outsiders will not be able to use it. So the outsiders, you can protect it from outsiders interference and misuse. Now for an example, right now, let's say junior student no longer require in the student class. I have name, ID and the marks variable. I have name, ID and the marks, right? Now, once I create this, let's say I'm going to use the constructor to get the marks as well. Right, then I'm going to have this dot marks equals marks. Right. Now, right in this one, right now you can see here in this student class, right now, I have the student constructor. Now when I create a student object, when I create a student object, when I create a student object, now student S and new student, and let's say Ann Smith ID, and then you have to pass the marks as well 85.9. Right, no, 0.9 cannot be passed because integer values I have used. Right, then now you can see even though I have created the student, now if I want, now since both are in the same class, no, if I want, I can create s dot name equals unknown. Outside now I have access to the class and then I have access to the object and the variable, so I can change the values. See, now I can have my own. I can have IT 0000. Right, and I can have s dot marks equals 40. S dot marks equals 40. Likewise, I can just change the values, and then let's say there's a print method as well. Void print. Right now here I'm gonna print. Right now, when I print the marks, now student dot print method. When I call the print method, now I'm not getting this and Smith ID 2220 and 85. What I'm getting now, I'm getting unknown ID 000 marks 40. Why? Because the one who has access to the object. Now, if you are not protected the variables, then anyone could access by the object name dot operator and the variable name, object name dot operator and the variable name, and assign the values. Therefore, see, now someone has now uh, right changed the values. Now I have changed the values from an Smith ID 222 to 85 marks to something unknown ID 00040. Like therefore, if I want to avoid that, like I don't want to allow outsiders to misuse the values, then I need to encapsulate it. I want to encapsulate it. How can I do the encapsulation? Remember, I have to make sure I will use the private keyword for all the instance variables. I'm going to use the private keyword to all my instance variables. I will use the private keyword for all my instance variables. Private keyword. Then instance variables are protected with private. So no one can access. No one would do this. Why? These variables, name, ID, marks are private. So cannot change. Now, if I want to change the name only, let's say if I want to allow to change, if someone wants to change the name, let's say the name might have mistakenly typed wrong. Therefore, if we want to allow someone to change the name, then I'm gonna assigning a method, public method. I'm gonna declare public method, public void set name. I'm gonna declare method set name which takes a name variable, a name value as an parameter. So, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this dot name equals the argument, whatever the parameter I have. Therefore, now if I want to allow someone to change the name, then I have declared a method called set name. And also, I want to someone to read the name value as it. If I want to allow someone to read the name, then I'm going to declare method called get name, and then I need to return the value. Since name is a string value, I'm going to declare this is string, and I'm going to return the value which is I'm going to return the name. Return name. Now what happens if someone wants to use the name, then they have to come through. They have to change the name. If someone wants to change the name, then they have to go through s dot set name, s dot set name, and then they have to set the name, let's say Jane Doe. And if they want to read the value as well, and then they can read the value new name change to right now. If you want to read the value of the variable name, then you have to use s dot get name. Now get name would method would return um, a string value. Therefore, now we have declared set name method because by we have made the name variable as private, so no one can access private. Then I have assigned set name, which is public method. If someone wants to change, then they can go through the set name method. If they want to access it, read it, then you can have get name only. Right now, let's say I want to allow outsiders if they want to use, if they want to read the ID and the ID, then I can declare get ID and the return ID. But and if I want to return the marks, if someone wants to take only the marks value, I can declare the marks, get marks, return marks. So I'm declaring the methods which I want to, which I want to. Therefore, I'm declaring the methods I want to declare. So if someone wants to use it, that means if I have declared, then only they can use it. Otherwise, they cannot. They cannot. Because now I have changed the instance variables into private. So no one can access. Then I have declared getters and setters, getters and setters. Right now, again, now you can see here, if someone wants to read the name, if someone wants to get the name, right, then they can use. If someone wants to right now read the I read the ID, student ID. Now they have to call the method get ID because then they could use it get ID. If someone wants to read the marks, then they have to go through the get marks method, get marks public method, get marks right now because now I have not given provision to change the marks or change the ID. I have not given the provision to change the marks variable or change the ID variable values because I have declared only set name which someone can use to change the name. Then you can say name change to Jane Doe, ID value is the same value, marks value is the same existing value. If someone wants to change, then only you are allowing this set method. Right now, getters and now we call this as getters and setters. So, accessor methods, getters or setters. Therefore, how would you encapsulate? By making, how would you encapsulate? By making instance variables as private and declaring public getters and setters for which you want to declare. Right now, if you are using NetBeans IDE, right now, let's see all these things. You don't have to worry at all. What you have to do is just type the student class name and you need to just type the instance variable names, right? Then once you're done with this, it's matter of using the NetBeans. How can you do it? In order to get the constructor, right click, insert code, constructor. Select all, done. You have the constructor generated for you. Now, getters and setters. Right click, insert code. If you want only the getters, you can click getter. If you want only the setter, you can click setter. Let's say you want getters and setters for all. Then getters and setters. Then select all the fields which you want to declare getters and setters. And make sure you click encapsulate fields. If you click on this encapsulate fields, all these instance variables become private. If you do not put this tick, then it won't change into private. Therefore, since if you are declaring getters and setters that you want to make it encapsulate, no, right? So enable encapsulate fields, click generate. See, these become private and you can see get methods for each get mark, set mark, get name, set name, get ID, set ID. Likewise, it would generate. Right now, if you want only the getters only, then if you want only the getters, so you can right click insert code and getter only. Like let's say ID name. Like if you want to for all the fields you want to make get methods, then you can click get. If you want to set only the marks name only, then setter only the marks, not the mark, only the name. Then you can select the particular field, click generate. Then only the set name is there for uh, name variable. Therefore, that is how you declare getters and setters. That is how you make sure encapsulation. Right, encapsulation means hiding the data or protecting the data or sensitive data from the outside users by making all instance variables as private, and provide public get and set methods to access and update the values of these private variables for only necessary ones. For the ones you require to generate the public, provide the public methods, you declared, otherwise you not. Right now, this is how you do use the encapsulation. Right, encapsulation. Right, okay, quickly try out this as well. Declare a class called item and then just have item ID, item name, and quantity, and select the generate the constructor and set some getters and setters and try to deal with those quickly. I'll give you 5 minutes time. Then we are going to talk about inheritance. We have just talked about encapsulation. Right now, again, as a summary, encapsulation can be achieved by making all the instance variables as private and declaring getters and setters public methods for the required fields. Right. So the instance variables will not be able to access using the object name dot operator because those are private, only access within the class. And public method, whenever you have declared public method using then that only someone can access it. That is what you call as encapsulation and inheritance. Inheritance is what you call as what do you call by inheritance? What do you think? Inheritance is inheriting the attributes and the methods from one class to another is what you call as inheritance. Right then, when you do the inheritance, there are two things about the classes can be called as subclass and the superclass. Right now here, I'm gonna create class called animal and the no what tell me an example. Cow. What do you call? Let's say cars. Vehicle. I have a class called vehicle, and let's say vehicle class has a method called string brand and void start, and the start method would display starting the car, starting the vehicle. Right now, starting the vehicle. Starting the vehicle and void. Let's say there's a one called hung. Then it says beep beep. Right. Okay, these are the two things I have in my own registration number string registration. We have registration number and void start, stop, start, and home. Right now these are the my class what I have right now. If I create a class called car, if I create a class called car, now class car can become a subclass of the class car can become a subclass of the class can a car can become subclass of the vehicle class. So the attributes which are like brand, registration number would be inherited to the class car, and also start, honk, those also would be inherited to the class car. Right now here, in order to show you that, if I create a class car object, car c equals new car, And if I say, let's say we'll create the constructor also for the class car. It's easier. Insert code constructor. I'm gonna select these two. Now, since the class vehicle has a constructor, for the class car also you need to have the constructor. Otherwise, it will give you an error. So, I'm gonna have model as a string, model and integer here. Not only the model would be enough. No, I would have for the class car. I would have vehicle. We have the interior. This dot here. Right now I have the class with brand and year, and car has the model, and that's it. And in order to get the constructor, you can right click, insert code, the constructor, and include the model you can generate. So the model and the year pass to the superclass constructor, and then this dot model equals model, because this model is only belongs to this particular class car. Right, then here now you can see when you try to create a class car object, now you need to pass the model, brand, and here right now if you want to pass in the format, you can get the brand first and the model then, and the brand model here. Right. So brand, let's say Toyota, right, brand, you're gonna say Axio, year 2020, 2018. Right. Now, okay, now we have the methods. We can call b dot start, c dot home. Right now, these are the methods can be accessed, because now you can see the class car does not have these methods declared, but in the vehicle class we have start and home methods. So this is where the class car is using, class car is using the inherited methods. Class car is using the inherited methods because car inherited the start and the home methods. Right now, if you run this, it would display mm, start in the vehicle and beep beep. Right now, here start in the vehicle. Here we have only the Toyota. No? We don't have the Axio, whatever the brand. We have only the brand at the vehicle class. Therefore, we can say like now, if you want, now this is where you will see the importance of overriding method, because now the start method you don't want to do it like this. Now, if it is a class car, when you call start, if you want to display starting the Toyota Axio, likewise, if you want to display starting the Toyota Axio, then you can select starting the brand plus model. Right, starting the brand plus model. Now, when you say car.start, now we have overridden this method. We have overridden the start method in order to have its own flavor for the class car. Right, when you call the class car start method, then start method would act according to the way we have declared. So it will display starting the Toyota Axio, starting the Toyota Axio, starting the Toyota Axio, and the honk method we don't want to do any changes. Then it would be just beep beep. Therefore, we use the inherited method. Now that is how you inherit the methods. Right now, this is the vehicle class. Right now, this is the vehicle class. We have done many exercises as well from the morning, but I'll give you a few minutes for you to try this one. And this is how we use the vehicle class, and this is the class car. Right now, this is the vehicle class, and this is the class car. and then you can have the driver as well. Right, okay, try this one. This is what you call as the inheritance. And then here we have, I have showed you overriding a method as well. Therefore, inheritance means right now, this is what you call, like you can see now, this is how you overriding as well. But even if you make these brand and year as private, then here the class car would not be able to access. The class car would not be able to access the these brand and the year. Right now, if you want, if you just make private, you will see. Now then, if you make it as private, the brand where we are using now here, you can see the brand cannot be used here. The brand cannot be used here. Why? Brand is declared as private. So either since it is in the same package, you can have default. If it is in the outside the package, then you need to declare it as protected. If it is protected, then you can access. So what happens is if it is a protected package level O, outside the package through subclass. Outside the package through subclass can access, otherwise cannot access. Then access modifiers we have discussed already. Now this is what you call as over method overriding also I have showed you. Right, I'll give you a few minutes. Then we need to discuss about the polymorphism. And if you want to try out the final class also, just try to make it as a final class. Then if it is a final class, you'll be getting an error here. The final class cannot be subclass, right? Therefore, you can't be a subclass from a final class. Therefore, you will get an error. This class cannot inherit from the final vehicle because final classes are cannot be subclass. Therefore, you cannot inherit from a final class. So remember that as well if you want to try it out. You can just test. Right, then this is how it works. Right, I'll give you 3 more minutes for you to do this, and then we will discuss about polymorphism. Quickly do it. Right now, Polymorphism means many forms. That means different objects act differently for the same command is like what you call as polymorphism. Then you through the inheritance we can inherit attributes and methods from another class. Then polymorphism can use those methods to perform different tasks to perform to be executed under single command in different ways. Now, for an example, now I have the start. No, okay, start method. Let's say now we have the start method in the vehicle class. Then I have a class called car, and let's say I have not overwritten this one. I have the class car, right? Which is a subclass of the uh, class vehicle. Right now, let's say I have another class. I have another class called bike, van. I have another class called van, which is also a subclass of the class car, class vehicle, which is a subclass of the class vehicle. Right now, this is a subclass of the class vehicle. Right now, you can see here. Now I have at the time I'm declaring the van, I have selected the superclass. So now this has become the subclass of the vehicle class. Then I need to generate the constructor. So insert code constructor. Right now I have generated the constructor as well for the van. And here also, let's say we have the brand. No, what do you want for the class car? What we have here? Model. All right. Now let's say we have the model. For the van also we'll have no need. Right. Okay. Well, van has only brand and year. Right. Then here spellings are wrong anyway. Right. Okay. Now you can see the class car and the van inherit from the vehicle class. So right now, when I create a van object, when I create a van object, let's say that is also Toyota year 2005. Right now, I have created car object and van object. Now I can call car object dot start, car object dot start, van object dot start. Now both now method is the same. I'm calling the method start. I'm calling the method start, and then two objects going to act now in this way. The two objects will act the same way because the superclass method is starting the vehicle. So both would say starting the vehicle, starting the vehicle, starting the vehicle. Right now, if you want to change the behavior, the way the start method is working, then you need to override that you know already. Let's override in the van class, starting the van, and in the class car, we'll override by saying starting the car. Right now, if you run this, now it would say now same method start now will act differently, saying starting the car, starting the van. Therefore, polymorphism means for the same command, multiple objects act different ways. For the same command, multiple objects act differently. That is what you call as polymorphism, using many forms. Polymorphism means using many forms. Right then, polymorphism is using many forms. Therefore, polymorphism can be used to you reuse the code, and then you can change accordingly. And then polymorphism means for the same command acting differently. Right. That is what you call as polymorphism. Right. Let's go through the slides now. Encapsulation we have discussed previously. The mechanism that binds together the methods and data it manipulates, keep both safe from outside. Encapsulation achieved by making all the instance variables as private and providing accessors to getters and setters to the instance variables via public methods. Therefore, instance variables would be private, and then you will be providing getters and setters public methods. So, if someone wants, they can access via the methods, public methods. Then this is what we have discussed previously. If it is public, visible to all classes. If it is default, package level access. If it is private, only visible within the class. If it is protected, package level plus through inheritance. And outside the package also can access. Right now, this is the problem here. When you have the instance variables, like say size, now bad O class has a variable called size. Then anyone who has the access to the bad O class can access object name dot size and assign the value. Therefore, this is legal, but this is the not the professional way of implementing, because anyone who has the access can be changing the value of the instance variables for that particular object by using the dot operator. So in order to avoid that, what you have to do is you make it in a private instance variable, and you implement the getters and setters public. So keep instance variables private and make public getters and setters. And that's how you're going to implement it. So if you have now this is the class B. Class B has size, name, color variables. So you make it as private. Then only within the class you can access size, name, color. For the class A, if you want allow to class A to change the value, you're going to create a method called set size. And if you want to read the size variable, you're going to declare a method called get size, which are public. So if class A wants to change the size variable, need to go through the get size method. Need to read the size variable. Sorry, in order to change the value, then it has to go through set size method. In order to read the value, then it has to go through the get size method. Now these are what you call as getters and setters. And then we discuss about polymorphism. Polymorphism means the capability of an action or method to do different things based on the object that is acting upon. Right now, even here, there's a class called shape, which has draw and erase methods. Then we have subclasses circle and square and the triangle. Triangle, circle, and square are subclasses of the shape class. Then when you call circle.draw or the square.draw or the triangle.draw, then each method would say circle, drawing a circle, drawing a square, drawing a triangle. Likewise, then for the same method draw, different objects will act differently. Now that is what you call as taking many forms. That is what you call as polymorphism. Right. Polymorphism means allowing different objects to respond to the same message in different ways. Therefore, polymorphism can be achieved through method overloading and method overriding. We have already discussed about overloading and overriding. And now for an example, when you say speak, different animals would make different noises. Now that is how for the same command speak, different objects would act differently. Right, the method overloading as a brief, I can say method overloading means using the same method name by changing the argument parameters. By changing the parameters, using the same method name by changing the parameters, you can achieve the overloading. Right. Then overloading method means, remember, must change the parameters. Right, that's what we discussed already. And overloaded methods, then compiler treats overloaded methods as completely different methods because different parameters, so different treat as different methods. Therefore, compiler knows which one to be called based on the parameter arguments you pass to the parameters. Right, now for an example, here if you pass 15, 10 red, that means int string, then it would execute a method declared set data with integer string. And if you pass only integer, then it will execute the method only which has two integer parameters. Likewise, then this is how you do it. Right, then take a screenshot of this one and then do it as a homework. You can do this as a homework by calculating the employee rates. Now, different employees, the rate calculation is defined here. Therefore, you can declare a calculate method or something, and then how you calculate the salary of bonus for each employee type based on the parameters. Therefore, you can write a class later. Then we're going to discuss about the inheritance. Inheritance means the process where one class acquire the properties of another class. Then when you become a subclass, the objects and the methods and the variables belongs to the superclass will be inherited. Therefore, with the use of inheritance, you can reuse the codes. Then the information is made manageable in hierarchical order. Then you can see account is a superclass. There are savings, fixed deposit, current are the subclasses of the account class, where fixed deposit is a subclass of the account class, and it is a superclass for short, medium, long types. Therefore, short, medium, long are subclasses of the fixed deposit. Therefore, you can have superclasses and the subclasses when it comes to inheritance. Therefore, inheritance helps to reduce the duplication of code. Therefore, you could reuse the code. Therefore, inheritance helps to reduce duplication of code by factoring out common code. Then you can have it in the superclass. Then, like for an example, if it is an account class, then you can have for every account, owner, account number, balance are common for all the accounts, right? Therefore, you can declare this. An open account, check balance, deposit, withdraw, those methods also common for each account type. So you can declare this. Then only for the saving accounts, you have the calculate interest, and the interest rate variable is required. For the current account, no interest calculated. Then you can have a method called issue checkbox. Likewise, then you can have different attributes for each subtypes. Then for code reusability, we could use the inheritance, right? Then we can have multi-level inheritance, single inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance as well. You could try out, and then hereafter we'll be practicing these as well. Right. Then here we can say the rectangle class declared with length and width, and we have class cube extends the rectangle. Now class cube become a subclass of rectangle. So the class cube will inherit length, width, and the area method. So length width is already there from the superclass. Then only the height is declared in the rectangle class. So when you calculate the volume, you can call the superclass dot area, and then you can multiply it by the height. Likewise, you could do it as well. Right now, this is how you can try out these as well. Mm, right, then this is how we call the superclass constructor that we have discussed already. I have showed you. And if you are calling the superclass constructor using the super keyword, then it has to match the parameters of the superclass constructor. And if present, it has to be the first statement. If you are calling the superclass constructor, it has to be the first statement. It has to be the first statement. And here also, you can see here we have used already. We have used the superclass, calling the superclass constructor. So it has to be the first line of the first line. It has to be the first line. Right. Right. Then, so in order to call the superclass methods, you can use the superclass name super dot the method name super dot method name. You can call the super dot method name in order to call the superclass methods. That's how we have already used. And then we have is a relationship. That means once you become a class car is a vehicle. When you become a car as a subclass of the vehicle class, then you can call it as a car is a vehicle, van is a vehicle, and is a relation means when you have superclass subclass relationship, subclasses can be used as car is a vehicle, van is a vehicle, and then car has name, car has year, car has registration number, car has model. Likewise, you can have has a relationship. Therefore, attributes it has called as has the relationship. Through the inheritance, you can say is a relationship. And then we discussed about the overriding methods. Therefore, overriding method means the change the behavior of a particular method inherited from the superclass according to the way you want to work. Therefore, if you want to define the methods declared in the superclass to change the behavior in the subclass, then you need to override. Therefore, in order to override a method, then first thing is a relationship. Then in order to override, is a relationship should be exist in the child class because there should be a parent-child relationship or super sub relationship, superclass subclass. Then when you have this sub child classes or the subclasses can override the methods inherited from the parent class or the superclass. Therefore, the key benefit of overriding is you can define the behavior which is specific to the subclass. Right now, when you're overriding, same method name, same parameters, same return type, and then you can change the body. Therefore, when you are overriding a method, you have to use the same name, same argument, same return type, right? Then you can change the body of the method, right? That's how you can do it. Then the rules are argument list must exactly match the overridden method. The return type must be same or subtype. The access level can't be more restrictive than the overridden method. Right now, that is what we have discussed already. And then this is an example. The rectangle class has area. Rectangle class has area, length, width, height. Right now, okay, if you don't want to, right now, the rectangle class has length. Okay, sorry. This is not a rectangle class. No, this is a cube class. See, this is a cube class. Cube class is a subclass of the rectangle class. This is the rectangle class. Rectangle class has the area calculated by multiplying length into width. But then the cube class, you have calculated the area method. You have override the area method by changing the behavior. By rather returning length and width, you have changed return length into width into height. Now here you can do a small change as well. If you can now here, if you wish, you could do return. Um, you can do it like return. What you can say return right now. Here length, width, and height. The superclass has the area method which calculates the length into width. Then you can say super dot area, super dot area, super dot area will calculate by length into width that multiplied by height. Likewise, if you want, you can do it as well. Rather writing return length into height, you can say return super dot area into height because length into width multiplication already done in the area. Then you could do it like this as well, rather using this line. Okay, and right. So that is done. Okay, let me read this right. Right now, when it comes to override, you can see you can't use access modifiers more restrictive, and you can't declare checked exception not defined by the superclass. And let's say now if you use public void eat string food, now this is overload, and because not an override, because the argument list has changed, and public string eat. This is not an override because of the return type, not an overload either because there's no change in the argument list now. Here, thereafter, you can make a screenshot of this one as well by overriding and overloading both. This is overriding. Now, previously you calculate the bonus calculation done by using overloaded methods. Now here you have the employee class, part-time and full-time. Then employee is the superclass where you can have part-time and full-time as a subclasses, subtypes, and thereafter you can do the calculations using overriding. You can do it and send it to me via chat. Yeah, I can see. Right, then that is about overriding and overloading and overriding with a double OP concepts, right? Then that's it. If you have any questions, you can ask now. Please try do these exercises and then send me the answers via chat. And then next day we're gonna start with the object class. So make sure you go through and find out what is the Java lang.object class. When you're coming next day, go through the Java lang.object class and what are the methods declared in the object class and read those things and then come. And if you have time, just search about array list. What is the difference between array versus array list? And those things just search and come, then it would be easier for you to understand whatever the content we're going to do next week. Any questions, please ask. Other than that, we can wind up for today. Thank you very much.